Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's been a while. I have been very busy with traveling for work, and so haven't had much of a chance to make these videos, but wanted to get one out today because I had some time. Today I'm going to be talking about my top 10 solo games, and that's games to play by yourself, obviously. The reason this list was kind of spurred was that each year I do a board game challenge, kind of like a resolution, if you will, New Year's resolution. Last year it was to play all of the games that I own solo that could be played solo, like out of the base game. Um, so I played all these, last year in 2022. I own all of these games. I don't know there's not any other games that would be on this list that I don't own because I'm not really a huge solo gamer, despite being a big fan of board games. I every now and then really nice, but for the most part, I'd much rather play with other people, and I tend to have people I can play with. There's several different groups of friends I have, or my family that I can play the games with. So don't play solo too much. Um, with all that out of the way, I'll talk more about some of my philosophy on solo game as we go through this. Number honorable mention would be number 11 is Parks. Just want to throw that out there. In fact, I might enjoy this more solo than with a group. Parks is a good game. I was surprised at how good the solo mode was. So, number 10, like I said, I own all of these. However, I couldn't find this one, but I'll show you the sequel. So, number 10 is Sprawlopolis. This is the sequel, Agropolis. And this is from Button Shy Games. They do these wallet games that have 18 cards in them. And in Sprawlopolis, and in the sequel here, Agropolis, you're taking these cards and you're layering them over top of each other or putting them next to each other to create a grid of a city or a farm, depending on which version of the game you're playing. This version is pretty much very similar to Sprawlopolis, but I have more nostalgia for Sprawlopolis because I played it first. Great game, plays super quickly. I often take it with me if I'm going to be at a coffee shop for a couple hours doing some work or something, or if my wife is going to be doing work. Take along Sprawlopolis and play a couple games because it's super quick and super easy. That's probably why I can't find it. I looked in my backpack it would normally be in, couldn't see it there, but it's probably in some sort of travel area. Anyway, number 10, Sprawlopolis, or Agropolis, basically the same thing. Number 9 is a game that was a gift from my in-laws. This is Coffee Roaster. This is another solo-only game. Sprawlopolis is basically solo-only, technically not, but Coffee Roaster here is solo only, and this is a bag building game, kind of like Quacks of Quedlinburg, in which you're trying to brew the perfect cup of coffee. There's also a little like mini campaign in it, in that you're supposed to go through and do 3 cups of coffee with different blends. Really interesting strategy. It's one of those games where I want to delve into it more. I think this would and will move up the list as I play it more. But I played it once last year, haven't gotten back to the table yet. I need to start bringing this along with me more often and playing it. Really, really good. Number 8 is the last of the solo-only games, which I'll just clump at the bottom of the list, and that is Friday. This is really the first game that I played solo a lot. This is a deck building game, and I love deck building. I'm a sucker for deck building games, as I always say. In this game, you have it's mostly just a deck of cards that you separate into 3 and some little tokens that represent your life. As you're going through, you are confronting all these obstacles. The theme is your Friday from Robinson Crusoe, and you're trying to help Robinson Crusoe survive, but he's not very good at it. He's pretty dumb. And so over the course of the game, you remove some of his cards. Like some of his cards are called stupid or very stupid and stuff like that. So you can remove those ones and get better ones in there that represent him becoming better at taking on all these threats. At the end of the game, he has to take on the 2 different pirate ships, and if he does, he wins, and you're done with the game. I haven't beat it at the highest difficulty yet. It can be a hard game, but it's a really fascinating puzzle. Really big fan of Friday. What was that? So number 7 here. Is Merchants of Magic, which is actually a game I like to play with 6 to 8 players. This plays 1 through 8, and surprisingly 1 actually works really well. This is a roll and write game. In this game you have just a sheet of paper, and you're rolling these 4 different dice, and you've got to mark down the things that you sell in your shop. So you're playing a merchant, and you are making all these magical items to sell to these adventurers. There's a decent amount of luck with it because there's also a deck of cards, and then you're rolling the dice. Decent amount of luck in it, but it's quick, it's fun, plays really well. Big fan, Merchants of Magic. Number 6 is another roll and write, or in this case, a roar and write. Roar and write? So this is Dinosaur Island Roar and Write. So my wife Amy bought this at a convention at Origins last year. She's like, yeah, it looks really cool. I wasn't that excited about it because the original game, Dinosaur Island, I one time down to the library and tried reading the rules, and it was just like, it was not put together well. The game looks terrible. This is not a bashing stream. Never mind. I wasn't interested in Dinosaur Island. Roarin' right here, though, fantastic. So you're essentially, making your own Jurassic Park, and you have this little grid here where you're putting all of your little pens and your special buildings, and then you're hiring these specialists. And yes, you're rolling these special dice that give you certain things, and dealing with your threat level and things like that. But there are certainly ways. It's not even so much ways to mitigate the luck, but there's a lot of strategy involved here. A surprising amount for a roll and write game. It's Dinosaur Island Roar and Write. Next on the list here, number 5 in the top 5 is my current favorite game of all time. Yes, it has overtaken A Feast Road, and I guess that's a spoiler for a list in the future. Dune Imperium. So, Dune Imperium has something that I typically don't like in solo games, which is that it has an AI opponent that you're playing against, who is in this case 2 AI opponents, and they are making moves and blocking off spots, and you're trying to race them to 10 points. The game is so good. I'd much rather play it with 3 or 4 people, certainly, but it's so good solo, and the AI works really well. It does come with a couple decks of cards that you can flip over to see what the AI is doing. But there's an app that is much better. You just hit the button on the app and it tells you what the AI does. Works out really well. Love deck building. Like I said, it's my favorite game right now. Yeah, that's Dune Imperium. Something I like more than Dune Imperium, though, a deck builder. Oh my gosh, there's 2 more deck builders coming up. Well, here's one of them. Imperium. In this case, Imperium Classics. That's the one I have. There's also Legends. This is a civilization game. The Legends ones has things like Atlantis and other people like that. Other not real civilizations like the Egyptians. Classics here, you are playing as one of these civilizations. So the Macedonians, the Greeks, the Persians, the Celts. This is the most complicated deck builder I've ever played. It works well with 2. I haven't played it with 3, and I don't think I ever will. Can it even be played with 4? It says it can be played with 4. Don't do that. Works really well at 1. There is a campaign involved, which I'm almost completely done with the campaign. I've been playing, who is it? I can't remember which civilization. But it's a very complex deck builder with lots of different strategies and lots of different asymmetries. So if you're playing as one particular civilization, if you're playing as the Greeks, you want to get out of the barbarian phase as quickly as possible and become, a civilized civilization. Play all these civilized cards. If you're playing the Celts, you want to stay in barbarian for a while. If you're playing the Vikings, you never leave barbarian. Very weird game, complicated, really hard to wrap your mind around it, but very worth it. Big fan. I'm looking forward to they're coming out with Imperium Horizons soon, which is 18 more civilizations or something like that. Number 3, oh gosh, by far the heaviest physically game on this list. And the last deck builder is Legendary. This is Marvel Legendary. I love this game. This is a deck builder in which you select the Marvel villain, you select your team, you select what the villain's trying to do. Setup can be a bit of a beast because of that, but it's really worth it. It's worth the time and investment. I have a bunch of expansions for this, which is why the box is so heavy. Base box is fine, but it becomes much better once you get into some of the expansions, especially the first one, Dark City. Lots of cool stuff. This game, if you're playing with multiple people, which I also love, it's semi-co-op in that you're all kind of working together, but whoever gets the highest score is like the winner of the winners. But if you're playing against somebody like Galactus or Thanos, it can be really hard. I also like you can just do themed things. Like if you want to take on Magneto with some of the X-Men, great, you can do that. Very cool stuff. That's legendary, Marvel legendary, I should say. Number 2 is very much the hot game of last year, and that is Ark Nova. In Ark Nova, you are building a zoo. The solo version of the game plays very differently than the multiplayer one. Multiplayer is a top 10 game for me. I love multiplayer. Obviously, solo game, very good too, but very different because you're on a very strict time frame. So as opposed to having some sort of AI doing things against you, like in Dune Imperium, in this one, you just have a certain number of turns. I can't remember even how many number of turns it is. And then the game is over. If you've managed to cross the paths of your 2 different tracks, you win. Otherwise, you don't. Decent amount of luck in which cards come up, which ones are good for you, but really, really great. Just allows you to play the game solo in half an hour, which the full game with 3 or 4 players can take, 3 or 4 hours. That's Ark Nova. And finally, number 1. Oh my gosh, I'm running out of space here. My favorite solo game is my former favorite board game, and that is A Feast for Odin. And who knows, maybe this goes back up to the number 1 slot for all board games at some point as well. So A Feast for Odin, love the game. It's worker placement, and it's kind of a sandbox game, they call it, where there's just a bunch of different stuff you can do. You have this giant board with all these worker placement options. The cool thing that this one does for the solo experience is you're playing 2 different colors, and on one turn, so usually I play like black and blue, we'll say. So if I put the little black meeples out, they stay on the board, and next turn I have to take my turn with the blue meeples, but the black ones are still blocking the spaces. Then the following turn I'd use the black pieces again, but now with the spots I went to the previous turn are blocked off. So there's this weird kind of like thinking ahead and trying to do like every other turn. Be like, okay, I'm gonna do whaling this turn, and then I'll do some raiding, and then I'll do some whaling and stuff like that. Really great game, complicated, definitely a bit of a brain burner, but highly recommend it. Certainly one of my favorite games and my favorite solo game. So that was it. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. If there's any that you think I should check out that were not on the list, feel free to put them in the comments. And certainly there's a bunch of other ones I played last year too. These ones all really fantastic. Some other games really good too, but there's also a lot of games that shouldn't be played solo and should only be played with 2 to 4 or something like that. But hope you enjoyed, and have a good one. Bye.